5 wins in a row for the Los Angeles Dodgers, a Roki Sasaki gem, and even the offense participating. What is going on? All this and more right now on All Dodgers. What's up, everybody? Welcome into All Dodgers, part of the Believe Podcast Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Jeff Spiegel. Tons to get into today on a fun Sunday show. We'll talk a little bit about the game, but talk big picture storylines as well. And to make it even more fun, we've got a 3-boxer tonight. Myself, Jeff Snider, Clint Pasillas, all here to break down an incredible stretch of Dodgers baseball. I say incredible, Jeff, not because it's actually been incredible, but because I think the 13 games before it sucked so bad that it feels like it's been incredible. Jeff's got himself muted. Congratulations, Pop.
Dadgummit.
Yeah, man. I know. It's we're calling you Pop, really and then you mess with the technology, Jeff. What are we going to do?
It's your first show. This, guys. What's going on? No, I definitely think there's some of that is compared to the previous games. Yeah, but also this is the first 3-game stretch for the Dodgers since 1895 that they scored at least 31 runs and allowed 3 or fewer. And that's not a made-up number. That's
what was that like, Jeff, when you were there last time they did this?
Well, I was busy. I was I was raising my 2 kids at the time. It's this has been, you always got the caveat of, it was the Angels. But you watch how the Dodgers have struggled against some pretty bad teams the last few weeks. It's like, I don't care if it's the Lake Elsinore Storm they're playing. Like, this was a great series, a lot of fun, and seeing the Dodgers score runs is always fun.
Yeah, and Clint, I mean, a week ago they had lost 2 in a row to the Giants. The world was falling apart. Then they take 2 in a row against the Giants. Then they sweep the Angels. And to Jeff's point, yes, it's the Giants, and yes, it's the Angels. But it's also 5 straight wins for the Dodgers.
We entered that Giants series talking about it needing to be a get-right series. It wasn't. It was a hopefully they can get squared by the end of that 4-game series. You enter this series hoping that it would be a get-right series, and certainly enough, it was a get-right series for just about everybody outside of Blake Snell, of course. We'll talk more about that. We talked about that on Saturday, myself and Kevin, but 31 runs scored, only 3 allowed. Yeah, they played the Angels. Yeah, the Angels are bad, but it still feels good. And for this Dodgers club, guys, it's not about whether or not we needed to see the talent or whatever. We just needed to see some confidence, and I think they all needed to see some confidence so they can keep it rolling forward heading into this Padres series coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots to get to tonight. As always, want to give a shout out to everybody hopping in on YouTube live with us on the All Dodgers podcast. We appreciate you. Those listening after the fact via podcast, wherever you get your podcast, you can find us there as well, or YouTube after the fact. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. We greatly appreciate all of those things. We've got lots to get to tonight. We are going to talk a little bit about the game, of course, but on these Sunday shows, we also like to zoom out a little and take some time to talk big picture. So we're going to talk game. Of course, we're going to talk Roki Sasaki and the Dodgers offense. Also, a ton of pitcher injury news to get to, including another reliever going down, a bad Brusdar Graterol update, and Blake Snell, as we mentioned. What exactly is going on with his elbow? Plus, Dodgers acquire a pitcher today from the Toronto Blue Jays, and also some interesting news about how Shohei Ohtani's pitching schedule and hitting schedule are going to be handled this week. But let's start with the game that we just watched, guys. The Dodgers win 10-1. My favorite stat from this game, Clint, is that they had 1 extra base hit. They scored 10 runs. They had 1 double, no triples, no home runs, 10 singles, 6 walks. We're going to get to Roki Sasaki here in just a moment, but you guys both talked about it. It was 15 runs last night. It was 10 runs tonight on just 4 extra base hits. The little Dodgers playing a little small ball, Clint.
I was saying a couple days ago, well, we're hoping to see this team start to get back on track. I've already done it a few times. I'll say it again, borrowing from my boy D-Mac, who's about to start his big radio gig, so congrats to him. But if you want the dub, you got to slug. They started slugging, and then from there, you start to Like we're zooming out on the show, a lot of big picture stuff. You also zoom out and just find a way to take advantage of the situations given to you. Yeah, they didn't get a lot of hits. They definitely didn't get a whole bunch of extra base. But if they're giving you the walk, It's okay to take it. Walk in a few runs, score some point, put some damn points on the board. And that is, my God, that's what they did in this series. And I loved it. And you roll that forward into the next one.
Yeah. And Jeff, one of the things today, the two guys who had 3 hits were Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker, two guys who have not exactly gotten off to flaming hot starts, who have been, I would say, under scrutiny offensively. Both of them over the last week seem to have found a different gear.
Yeah, between them and Teoscar Hernandez, it seems like, if you're talking about a get right series, those are the 3 guys who maybe needed to get right the most.
Yeah.
And you hope that it can be a get right series. Because again, it is the Angels. But one of them was Jose Soriano, who's a very good pitcher. And the Dodgers scored 6 runs against him, mostly on walks. But, that's what you got to do sometimes. You talk about small ball. My favorite thing about the small ball argument is that it's just like every argument in sports, in that it can be boiled down to, hey, we define this term differently. Whether you're talking about what's an ace or play more small ball, because if you're talking about you need to do more sacrifice bunting, no, I don't like that form of small ball. But base hits, taking a walk, I don't need the extra base hits if you're getting lots of the singles. I know at one point in today's game, the Dodgers were 5 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
I believe they finished 7 for 11 was the final tally, I believe.
Way dropped off, only batted 400 with runners in scoring position after that hot start. It's you get the hits, and eventually the extra base hits will come. The one double today was after the game was already locked up. Chick Hearn had already put the butter in the fridge or whatever it was. I don't know. Big time basketball guy. But you can win with just base hits and walks, because the only thing that's limited in baseball is outs. That's what you want to avoid, is the outs.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of super chats flowing in, so let's get to some of these. Smurfy with the $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you. Where did it go? It was there. Boom. There we go.
That's Francisco, right?
Francisco, thank you. Happy with the sweep. Now down to the circus tent known as Petco Park. Also, this week-long love affair with the injury needs to end now. We're going to get into both a preview of the Padres series and some odds in a little bit on that one, as well as the week-long love affair with the injury is true. Glasnow, Snell, Dreyer, Gratterall, bad news everywhere you look. I'm afraid to say River Ryan, I believe, made a rehab appearance and didn't come out of it injured. So I'm just going to set him aside and pretend like we're not going to say that out loud for fear of ruining it. But yes, it's headed down to San Diego. And again, the Dodgers in a good spot for that one. We got another super chat here from ADK. Some would say up and to the right. That would be me that would say up and to the right, which is what the Dodgers have done offensively and in the win column. Half game up in the division, I believe, right? The Dodgers today, the Padres were smoking the Mariners, but I believe, Snider, is that right? That the Dodgers retook the divisional lead?
Yeah, I don't know if the Padres Mariners have ended yet, but it's just about over. And so the Padres are going to win that game. So it will remain a half game lead for the Dodgers.
There you go. There you go. Love that. Ray Soto with the classic $1.99 super chat with no question. Ray, we appreciate you. D-Nation Life. I demand an official retraction from Jeff about the Wyatt Mills slander. Also, are we concerned about Dave saying Roki is beginning to become coachable? We're going to talk about that. Was this you or me, Snider, that needs to retract our Wyatt Mills slander? I'm sure I slandered him. Did you slander him also?
I assume it's a reference to my comment of the history we watched of the last time that Wyatt Mills will see Dodger Stadium without buying a ticket. And in my defense, he hasn't pitched at Dodger Stadium since then. And he walked 3 guys in 2 innings in the 2 games he pitched in Anaheim. So, Wyatt Mills, as soon as the Dodgers get over this injury bug and they have anybody, in fact, as soon as Eric Lauer is activated, probably, Wyatt Mills go bye-bye, because he's not a major league pitcher. But that's why you go ahead and score 15 runs one night and 10 runs the next night, so you can use your Wyatt Mills instead of an actual pitcher.
Yeah.
Sorry, Wyatt Mills' mom.
Yeah, Clint, I'm beginning to believe that these relief pitchers the Dodgers are adding are just made-up names. Chase McDermott, Wyatt Mills, and Austin Barnes' cousin. What was his first name? I'm blanking on it now.
Charlie
Barnes. Excuse me. Do you
Chase
believe, Clint,
McDermott?
With a Y.
That is That is the most like that is an AI generated name. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what his damn birth certificate says. That is AI. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And we
They're
have
all
I've
going to be
told you-
World Series champions.
Yeah.
I've told you guys I have this list of aliases that I keep, and Chase McDermott's one I've been tempted to add to the list.
There you go.
Put him next to Bull the Bull McCracken or Flapjack O'Butterworth.
Okay.
What about Mac Power? Like Homer Simpson. Got to get a Simpsons reference in.
There you go.
It's about time.
Dirty Don with the $1.99. Thoughts on the Eric Lauer pickup? We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper later on, but Jeff, give me just like your 15-second thoughts on the Eric Lauer pickup.
I don't know. The downside is he can't pitch against the Dodgers, so I don't know if he's going to be any good.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, soft tossing lefty. I believe it's 4 2/3 or maybe 5 2/3. Scoreless 2-hit innings against the Dodgers in the World Series, and we know they need help. So again, we'll dive into that a little bit more later in the show. It's somewhat criminal that we have waited 11 minutes and 24 seconds into this show to talk about the person who is really the headliner today, and that is Roki Sasaki. An incredible performance from Roki Sasaki today. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Lots going on here. Clint, what did you like? We know it's the Angels, okay? And I'll just preface all of this. We know it's the Angels. The Angels lead the league in strikeouts. They're 3rd in whiff rate. It's a difficult team to get a read on, like, is this real or is this not real? With that said, with that in mind, Clint, what did you make of Roki Sasaki's clearly his best performance as a professional up until this point?
I think the two biggest things we needed to see out of him is avoiding the big inning, which he was able to do in this one. And I don't care that it's the Angels, because him avoiding the big inning is good for his confidence. We know he is somebody that I don't want to say he's sensitive, but we'll say that if he's not pitching well, he's going to wear it. He's going to wear a little bit more. He's battled a lot more. He's matured this year rather than the guy we saw crying about a year ago on camera. But I like 7 innings. I read less into the punch outs because, as you said at the top, it is the Angels. There is always going to be that Angels factor when you're talking about a team this bad. But 7 innings, only 1 run at a time where the starting rotation is stretched thin, and now so much more emphasis is put on him. There's nowhere to bury him now, where he is in the starting rotation for at least a loose body removal recovery amount of time. So for him to have this, great for the Dodgers, great for his confidence, and the fact that Dave actually openly said, the communication is getting better. Or he's more coachable. Another one of those storylines from last year where it seemed like maybe these two sides weren't seeing eye to eye. Now we're starting to get a lot more comfortable with each other. He's having fun with the teammates. He's having fun on the mound. And it's funny, Katie Wu, on Dodgers territory on Thursday, said a phrase that I never thought we would hear with Roki Sasaki, and that is 4-pitch mix Roki Sasaki. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Jeff, when you look at this box score, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 8 strikeouts, which of those 5 numbers jumps out to you the most? Is it the innings? Is it the no walks? Is it the big strikeout number? Like, where do your eyes gravitate towards?
For me, it's got to be the no walks. And really the number that jumps out at me is the one you have there at the bottom of the screen, the 62% in zone rate, because Roki has good stuff, especially as, now that he does have 4 pitches suddenly. If you can command them, you can throw them in or near the strike zone, throw them in the strike zone. And then the ones that are just outside the strike zone, you're going to get more chase, because if it's all over the place, you're not getting chase. And so everything boils down to your ability to throw strikes. And so that isn't necessarily affected by the opponent. Obviously you're more confident throwing strikes when you fear the hitter because he plays for a terrible team. But these are big league hitters. And so my hope is that Roki saw the results of, oh, wow, I pounded the zone and I had good success. I was efficient, and next time he pitches, I haven't even looked at the schedule. Who do the Dodgers play after the Padres? Because that's probably who Roki will face next. I'm sure it'll be some team that's better than the Angels, but hopefully
Brewers.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be a good test, because let's see if Roki can continue to pound the zone, and then you can start honing, okay, hitting the corners of the zone, not just trying to throw strikes. And today there wasn't a ton of pitches right down the middle. It was pretty good use of the strike zone. And so that's the thing that was most encouraging to me, because it's not necessarily opponent dependent, and gives me hope that he can carry that over to his next one.
Yeah, looking through the chat, lots of people agreeing with you that 0 walks is the number that jumps out. And I kind of put some of the StatCast stuff below. 62% in zone rate, which you've referenced. That was a season high by, I believe, 10%. 52%, I believe, was the season high coming in. It might have been somewhere closer to the mid 50s, but either way, 62%, clearly a season high amount of pitches that land in the zone. And then the second piece of this to go along with the 32% whiff rate, which, if you're not familiar with swing and miss rates and kind of is that good, that's a very, very good number, 32%. And the issue for Roki Sasaki has been he has not been able to navigate both of those numbers at the same time. Coming into today, his highest whiff rate was a day where he basically couldn't throw strikes to save his life. And so, yeah, he's getting swing and miss because he's getting chased outside of the zone, but he's also walking 5 batters in that game. His ability to do both of those things at the same time, to be in zone and miss bats, is the absolute key. He ends up with a season high 18 swings and misses. So, and we mentioned it. And I think, Clint, we have to acknowledge the part where the Dodgers are saying out loud that Roki's actually open to feedback. Vasse said that during the broadcast today, is like, they feel like he's a little more coachable. They feel like he's a little more open to what they have to say. Do you think this is as simple? Because in a moment, I'm going to break down this whole nerdy stuff about now he has a forkball and a splitter instead of we can't decide which one it is. Now it's both. Do you think the success is, can we draw a straight line to, hey, he's more coachable, teachable, now all of a sudden he's good?
I mean, you can't deny what is happening right now, right? All of a sudden he's open. He's the one who initially approached them about wanting to get his, we'll just call it a changeup, whatever it was. It was really a forkball at that time, but for that scenario, he was the one who was trying to get more velocity on it. Once he felt comfortably immediately, with that splitter, more of the splitter grip on it, he was able to find, like, hey, I have now whatever 88 mile per hour pitch, and then also an 84, that with the first one being more strikeable, and then 84. And then I think from that, where like he approached them, they gave him like, yeah, no, go for it, please. Like, we like that. If you feel good with it, use it in the game with the splitter. And I think that was that last little bit of the ice breaking between the two sides, because everything else has been, I would say, a decent amount of uphill battle when it comes to him coming over here to the States, him being plugged into the starting rotation, getting a lot of whatever publicity or ever press, whether it's good or bad, he got a lot of it, definitely a lot of bad, and then being pushed into the bullpen, so on and so forth. So now this is like really, in my opinion, his first real season working with this coaching staff, and for them to be feeling comfortable, confident with each other, and him just getting more age, being more mature, it's huge, but there's a correlation.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 pitches. This is from MLB.com, and on one hand, this is kind of a who cares scenario, because you just throw the pitches and the results are the results, but there are people out there that are charting these pitches and telling us what percentage of the time he's throwing pitch X and how much it's moving compared to normal and that kind of a thing. And so there are people that have to determine the difference between a sweeper and a slider, or a two-seamer, a sinker, a forkball, and a splitter, etc. So basically, up until a few starts ago, there seemed to be agreement that Roki Sasaki was throwing a singular pitch that could either be called a splitter or a forkball, but there was just one version of it. A few starts ago, there became 2. And here's the breakdown between those pitches. One that is slower, low spin, that is more like a knuckleball, meaning it could move left or right, and a newer version which is thrown harder. So the first pitch is thrown, like you mentioned, Clint, kind of in a mid-80s range. The harder one is going low 90s, which the harder pitch has more spin and more downward movement. And so StatCast is now calling the original knuckleball type pitch a forkball, and the harder version is called a splitter. And you nailed it, Clint. The key with the splitter is he can command it better. He knows exactly. It's not a knuckleball where it's like, I don't know where this thing's going to end up. he knows exactly, in theory, what it's going to do. And so he can throw it both more in the zone and also closer to the zone and get more swing and miss. So you look at coming into today, he had been throwing 17% splitters and 20% forkballs. So 20% of the pitch he can't control and 17% of the one he can control more. Today, he throws 20% splitters, which have better control, and only 12% forkballs. And what do you know, Pop? He throws 62% of these pitches in the zone because he's throwing more of the pitch that is still very good, but that is controllable and can be landed in the zone.
So in summary, he's throwing the pitch that he can control more often, and he's having more control.
Believe it or
Hashtag
not,
math
yes.
baby. That is what we call hashtag math baby here on the All Dodgers podcast.
Can I interject for 1 second here? But the thing is, now all of a sudden that makes the forkball a weapon because he has another pitch that he could strike. So now they're not just waiting on a very hittable fastball.
Yeah.
Now that's the thing. That's gonna be the thing that opens him up, and maybe he actually is the guy so many people thought he could be.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead, Pop.
And the slider too, like
really good.
That fourth pitch, it's been really good, and the movement, the command of it, it's all coming together. And you know, Oro talked on the broadcast today specifically about Roki's back leg and how, you know, that I think Oro was just speculating. That's one of the things that the coaching staff has been working on with him. Oro was talking during Roki's last start, I believe, about how he prefers him from the stretch because there's not as much movement in the legs. And, you know, he does kind of have like a Jack Skellington look to him when he's pitching because those legs are so long and they're doing so many things that, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there, literally. And so all of that comes together where you're throwing your pitches in a different ratio, the ones you can control better. But even like fastball ought to be the one that you can control the best because there's no magic to it. It's just thrown straight. And going back to spring training, Roki's fastball, there was no command there. Like it's been a couple starts now since we've been thinking, man, I wish Roki could command the fastball.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that's solved forever, but if he can be mostly past the fastball command issues and start honing in the command on the other things, that's why we talk about the baby steps with Roki, because it's not all going to come together in one thing because there's so many things that he needed to work on. But that was my favorite thing about today, was seeing like the real progress on multiple things that he did need to work on and seeing how he's progressed over the last, you know, month or so.
Well, and how about this?
Can I plug back in for one more second? I'm sorry. I really get nerdy about this pitching stuff. Entering spring training, they had mentioned at Dodger Fest, they were trying to teach him a cutter and a two-seamer. And I immediately red flagged the two-seamer as something that was going to mess up his entire pitch mix, which at the time was really just a two. He's going to lose that command of the over-the-top fastball, but you're going to lose the forkball because so much importance is on pulling down that pitch over the top. Like Ross Stripling really should have thrown a forkball, but that's a different kind of conversation there. They ditched it. They ditched the two-seamer, I think, 1 or 2 starts into the season, and just started focusing on making that cutter a little bit more slidery. And then all of a sudden, I think that's where he started feeling a lot more comfortable. And then now when we get back into the coachable conversation, but I just want to make sure we bring back the two-seamer because that's what made him look really, really bad. Throwing that two-seamer a lot, trying to get comfortable with it in spring training, seldom getting out of the first inning in spring training because of that, which just really hurt the confidence as well. Now he's in a really, really good spot.
And it's not like Roki's been great in the regular season, but like from his first start of the regular season, it was night and day better than spring training, which very good support for what we always say. Don't worry about results in spring training because you never know what somebody's working on. And so like if you're trying to throw a different pitch and then at the end of spring training, they say, okay, that didn't work. Stop throwing that one. Well, yeah, the results are going to get better.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, you mentioned the command of the fastball. The fastball today was 81% of the time was in the zone. I mean, that number seems completely incomprehensible compared to the Roki Sasaki we watched a month and a half ago.
That's good for a normal pitcher, not just for a pitcher who we sometimes wonder if he has any idea where the ball might go.
Well, and here's the last number I'll throw at you, and I think it's the most important, is that the fastball was actually somewhat effective today. And this is the number that I'm like, is this just the Angels who whiff at the third highest rate in baseball and strike out at the highest rate in baseball or not? But he actually got a 23% whiff rate on his fastball. This is a pitch that, like, so far this season, you would see 22 swings and you'd be lucky if you got 2 whiffs. He had 6 whiffs on that pitch today. And the velocity, we talked 0.3 mile an hour fastball in the 7th inning. That was his average velocity in the 7th inning today. He throws 91 pitches. It was the second hardest that he was throwing his fastball at any point. The 3rd inning was first. The 7th inning was second. So he's throwing it hard. He's throwing it for strikes. He's maintaining velocity. And yet, and somehow in the midst of all of that, Jeff, he's also getting swing and miss. If the fastball even becomes an average pitch, it does not need to be good. It just needs to be something other than the worst pitch in Major League Baseball, which is what it has been. If it gets to average and the splitter can land for strikes, now you can see, Jeff, sort of the path forward to this guy not just being tolerable, but actually being a real weapon.
Yeah, and I've said many times, like, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I think his fastball effectiveness has very little to do with the fastball. It has to do with all the other pitches, because it is hard enough. It is 97, 98 that if your splitter and your forkball are working, if your slider's working, you have them off balance. And the times when, basically they have to guess right. Okay, I know he's throwing a fastball, and then you throw a fastball, and even then you have to make a mistake and throw it in a bad spot. So the key to his fastball effectiveness has never been about changing anything about the fastball other than learning how to throw it at least close to where you want to throw it. But the actual pitch mechanics, it's all about your other pitches so that you have something that your fastball is playing off of. And I think that's what we're seeing, that, 3 or even 4 pitches, so 2 or 3 other pitches besides the fastball that the hitter has to be ready for. That's going to fix your fastball quicker than anything.
Yeah, through the
and
fastball.
Having more pitches.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff, I keep interrupting you, but here again, I'm really nerdy with this stuff. Or at least specifically the Roki stuff, because this is, we were talking earlier offline about Blake Snell being a huge lightning rod for Dodgers fans. This is a lightning rod for Major League Baseball fans when you're talking about Roki Sasaki. But having more pitches, if something's down, if something is offline, a pitch is not working for him, now he has some weapons. Like that get me over slider was like a good gapper, like a good bridge gapper when he didn't necessarily have confidence in the fastball. Now he's starting to gain that confidence. But you look at starts like 3 through 6, he was really leaning on that slider a lot to get him in the zone, top of the zone a lot. That pitch might start getting hittable, but we also mentioned the velocity. We expected a 101 mile an hour guy. Give me 97 with control any day. If you could locate 97 and have some other pitches that actually maybe produce some swing and miss, we're going to see more starts like this. We're going to see him continuing to, like the boys here, going up and to the right.
Yeah, absolutely. 44% fastball. The other fastball at 97, and you've got to be on your toes for 3 different pitches that are moving in a bunch of different directions. One of them, you have no idea. Even if you know what pitch is coming, you don't know what direction it's moving at different velocities as well. That's the recipe for success for Roki Sasaki. As we said, a huge test next week against the Milwaukee Brewers, a competent Major League Baseball offense. We'll see if he can continue to have some of the same success. We do have another super chat here. This one from the Enigma. Those in the Discord know I'm not a Roki guy, but I'm impressed with the performance today. Now let's see it against actual MLB teams. We agree with you on that. And by the way, speaking of the Discord, if you're not familiar, one way that you can support our show is with the Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. Scan the QR code or just go to patreon.com/realfrg and join our team. $5 a month is the minimum way. You get access to the Discord, but also, maybe more importantly, you just get to support the show and be a fan of what we do and make sure we get to keep doing it. So we appreciate all the people who are already a part of the Patreon, and those that are YouTube members over here on the YouTube channel. We appreciate that as well. Lots of way to support us and the boys, and we appreciate all of you for doing that. Let's move on to the next piece here, and we've mentioned it, Jeff. It's the Padres next up on the schedule. Our friends over at FanDuel have some odds out for us of the game tomorrow. Yamamoto versus King down in San Diego. What do you like in this one, Jeff?
Obviously the Dodgers are favored, as they are almost every game. They're at -156. Padres at +132. It's Yamamoto against Michael King. King has been very good at times. He's having a good season this year for the Padres. His strikeout rate is down quite a bit from where it's been in his best seasons, down to less than a strikeout per inning. And so, I'm interested to see what the Dodgers can do. His walk rate is up, his strikeout rate is down, and because of that, his ERA looks good. His underlying numbers like, okay, yeah, he's better than average, but he's not an ace level kind of pitcher. And so I am very, very curious to see if the Dodgers can carry this over, this offensive boom that they had this weekend against the Angels, 31 runs in 3 games. Can they carry that over? Because the Padres are they're a bad team with a good record, apparently. If you look at everything, like their run differential, I guess they did win by 5 runs today, so I believe that brings their run differential up to 7, up to +7. And so, yeah, they're at +7 right now. Dodgers are at +94, and somehow they're a half game apart in the standings. Dodgers expected record 33-14, Padres expected record 24-22. So you know what? Tomorrow we start the series where we follow the record book all the time. And so, yeah, the FanDuel odds makers like the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers in this game, and I'm excited to see it. And thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the show.
Absolutely. Clint, I think we can agree that the most important thing to happen in the next few days is we must make sure that Fernando Tatis does not leave this with a home run, because he still is at 0. So that's like objective number 1. Do not let that man hit a home run against you.
Did you see the Giants TV channel trolling Tatis? After Luis Ariz hit his first home run of the season on Saturday, NBC, whatever, it's the
Bay Area,
CSN Bay Area, whatever, they just tweeted, "Your move, Tatis," and tagged Fernando Tatis in the tweet.
Fantastic.
And then Ariz hit his second one of the season today. Yeah, those guys are trolls. But when it's Fernando Tatis they're trolling, I'm kind of on board with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The fact that Nando's hitting 232, no homers this season, OPS under 600. Boy needs some ringworm, man. He needs something to get that bat going again, because my sweet word. But yeah, just a middle of the pack team at best. And I love the way you said that, Pop. Like, somehow they have a good record with it, and it's really Mason Miller driven, I think, because when they have a small lead, they're able to hold on to it. And that's a note I just wrote down. Don't give Mason Miller a lead to work with, and you're going to feel okay in this series, I think.
Yeah, at least Tatis.
Yeah, the goal's just not see Mason Miller.
Yeah. At least Tatis doesn't have 8 more years after this one on his contract at 36. Oh no, wait, he does. No, that's my mistake. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough. Some of those, the last 6, I believe, are $36.7 million a year. So, hey, to each their own, I guess. Congrats to the Padres on that one. Dodgers offense, I want to talk real quick. Are we buying this group? Because we mentioned how bad it was. They had a 13-game stretch coming into this 5-game win streak in which they were averaging 3.4 runs per game, just 44 runs in 13 games. In the last 5, they have scored 40. For those that are not good at math, 40 divided by 5, 8 runs per game. They have won all of those games, not coincidentally. In fact, it was the Giants. It was the Angels. Although, as we've pointed out, there was at least one good pitcher that they faced for the Angels in that stretch. Giants pitchers weren't terrible either. But
Landon Roop was one of them too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Pop, are you buying the Dodgers offense? Like, this is a group that got crapped on for 2 straight weeks, and they're old, they're aging, they're not good enough. Kyle Tucker sucks. Ohtani can't do both things. Fill in the blank here. Like, it's only 5 games, and they scored 25 runs in the last 2, and a bunch of those were garbage time, if we can borrow
Yeah, I think that they're not, obviously, they're not going to average 12.5 runs a game like they have the last 2 games. But I think that the 3 runs a game that they did for a couple weeks before that was unsustainable for this group of people.
Yeah.
They are too good for this. There's always going to be question marks. They are an aging team. And so we talked about it before. Like, every time one of these guys slumps, we're like, oh no, is this where he gets bad because he's old? And eventually the answer will be yes. But I don't think there's much chance that the answer is going to be yes for all of them this year.
Yeah.
And that's why, yeah, it was just a slump. And so, yeah, I think the real Dodgers are somewhere in between the terrible version we saw and what we've seen the last 2 days. But I do think it's somewhere in the, 5 to 6 runs a game average, which with their pitching staff is going to win a lot of baseball games.
Yeah, I believe they lead the league in OPS still. So it's not like we're just looking at the last 5 games and cherry picking. This has actually been the story of this team on the whole, that 2-week stretch to the side. Clint, I think it's interesting that one of the guys that, if you could get everybody to agree on the most likely older, quotes, Dodger who might not get it back together, it would probably be Mookie Betts. And yet that guy hit 2 home runs in the last few days. So it's kind of like, if Mookie finds it, like, watch the heck out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and that's been the issue for this team. It's been them stringing hits, innings, walks, all of it together. Even today, Muncy was over, Rushing was over. They both got, a couple of walks in there. That's the big thing with the Angels, taking advantage of all the walks they're giving you. That's how you're able to beat them. Freddie as well. If you're able to have Freddie Freeman being Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts being some version of the Mookie Betts that we know and love, Muntz is going to drop some knocks in there. Like, this is eventually going to be the team that we thought they were entering spring training and entering the regular season. But right now, to the question we entered this segment with, Speaks, it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors with this series.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. The runs all count the same. So just winning ball games is the important part, because we're tired of the pitchforks and all the torches and everything.
Yeah.
Eventually, everybody's going to hit. Maybe they don't score as many runs, but everybody's going to start hitting a little more to what we expect and anticipate from them.
Shout out, by the way, real quick, over 600 people in here live with us on YouTube, which we love. We appreciate folks for hopping and enjoying. We'll do a little applause for that. Thank you to everybody hopping in live. But I mean, I'll just say one more thing before we move on here. I mentioned that they scored 10 runs today. You can rely on 18 walks with the bases loaded, I think the Angels had yesterday. We had the Pajes stealing signs legally, of course, situation, etc. But, like, Jeff, if I could go sideways here, like, you could make a case that the Dodgers offense, in spite of scoring 25 runs in the last 2 days, is still really not clicking on all cylinders, because this is a team that at its best is going to hit a ton of slug, and they just haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Although they did hit for the cycle yesterday, a bunch of singles, I guess only 7 singles, a double for Ohtani, a triple for Ohtani, and a homer by Betts. So, they hit for the cycle. Of course you're going to win when you hit for the cycle. But yeah, no, there is definitely still room for improvement, room for this team to lock in a little bit more. And I think we're going to see that balance out a little bit, where, the fact is, this was probably the only time this season that we will see an inning in which they get 4 walks and 2 hit batters.
Yeah.
The rallies don't generally happen like that. But those were very good at bats. That was a good pitcher who was cruising, and they battled and forced their way into those, it's a couple really hard fought battles in that inning. And so that's what this team can do. But we're not seeing everything they can do, like you said, because they can hit the ball over the wall a little bit more often than they are, find gaps a little bit more often than they are. And hopefully that'll be their project in San Diego. All right, let's at least start finding gaps, and then they can work on over the fence in Milwaukee or whatever.
Real quick, Clint, I didn't have this on my rundown, but I'm super glad that Matty Man mentioned it, because I can't believe it's not on my rundown. This is a me problem that it not. Can we talk about Andy Pajes' defense all weekend? I mean, holy smokes. This is I need to constantly remind myself and remind other people. We are 12 months removed from this guy being an absolute liability in center field. He was learning a new position. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been. I'm just saying he was. He would jump in when he's supposed to go back. He would take terrible routes to balls. It was just a dumpster fire. And all of a sudden, Clint, 12 months later, the Dodgers have a young outfielder who, by the way, is hitting, who's playing defensively in center field like one of the best defensive center field. I mean, he had a 10% and 15% catch probability, I believe, yesterday in the same game. This series was a remarkable one for Pajes, only on the defensive side. You can make the case only on the defensive side he was awesome in this one.
Yeah, all the credit goes to him putting in the work. And I love what Pop tweeted this weekend as well, talking about not only were we worried about him being a center fielder, there was a point in time during his minor league career where even, but he entered the 2023 or 24 off season, shed a bunch of weight, grew into his body a lot more, had himself a nice spring training. Of course, the shoulder injury sets him back, but even coming off of that too, like he had a nice rookie season, a really nice sophomore season, and now you're just seeing him keep getting better and better because he puts in the work on all facets of the game. Like, we don't talk about him and the stupid base running as much anymore. That's still the weakest part of his game. But I saw somebody in the chat, I think Kira said, needs to be an all-star. You're looking at the best center fielder, I should say, in baseball. PCA might need to take a little bit of a step back and also stop jawing with fans and just maybe shut up for a couple of weeks or months or seasons. If you guys missed it, he got into an argument with a fan today. But if you're looking for a kind of complete baseball center fielder right now, it is Andy Pages. And it's because of him. He puts in the work.
His two plays yesterday. Oh, go
ahead, Jeff.
All right, I'll go ahead, Jeff. His two plays yesterday, one was 15%. The diving catch off Nolan Shanaway, I believe, hit it. That was his best play of the season by catch probability. And then the one that he caught on the Logan O'Hoppe line drive coming kind of directly in, that one was a 30% catch probability. Though that's his third best of the season. The one between those two was the one off Gabby Moreno on opening day. That one was 25%. So two of his three best plays this season by catch probability happened yesterday. He had another great one today that I haven't been able to track down the catch probability yet. It'll be up tomorrow. I'll find it. But it looks like it's probably going to be one of those. We talked about with Teoscar, you can't just tell by the ending of the play how good a play it was, because there's a lot of plays where, if you were better, you wouldn't have had to dive for it. And so, there's still value in making up for it. But you never can tell. But what we've seen with Pages pretty consistently is that he is making these plays, and like he hasn't let anything drop that was, I'm looking at, like, there was 185% ball that he didn't catch and 165% ball that he didn't catch this year. Those are the only two balls that have dropped that had better than a 50% catch probability. Like 50%, that's a 50-50. You would expect those would drop about half the time. Hashtag math, baby. Not with Andy Pages is out there. That guy is getting to almost everything.
Yeah. You look at some of the savant stuff, 97th percentile when it comes to range, outs above average, 96th percentile when it comes to arm value. You throw in the offensive side of things, where Pages is currently slashing 304 on the batting average, 357 on base, according to Fangraphs WAR. Max Muncy, the only Dodger ahead of him, by the way. Muncy's 7th on that list because of the offensive season he's having. But, it's like guys below him. Kyle Schwarber is below him. Byron Buxton is below him. PCA, Cody Bellinger, Mike Trout, Corbin Carroll, all these guys below Andy Pages on this list. He's becoming an incredibly complete player, which I think is a testament to him. Nicholas with the super chat chimes in and says, Pages spitting on ball 4 yesterday after swinging on one in the other's batter box was great. It kept the big inning going. This is the other piece. Like, it's the maturation of the hitter. I'll be honest. Like, Clint, when I saw everything that he went through offensively in the postseason, I wasn't worried that he was going to become like a James Outman situation where the fairy dust had worn off. But I was like, I'm not totally positive that this guy is going to be able to bounce back quickly from such a disastrous month of baseball on the biggest stage with the most pressure. The fact that he has come out of the gates this quickly and been able to adjust, to Nicholas's point, to be able to take pitches instead of feel like he needs to press, that to me is neck and neck with the defensive improvements as far as the most impressive things about Pages to me.
Yeah, and he is a dude who is fueled by failure. And I think you see a lot of the guys who maybe don't have the most talent in the world, they will be good, complete. They will find ways to make themselves into good, complete baseball players when they are fueled by failure. And that getting pulled from games 6 and 7 in the World Series, that had to be a real kick in the ass. And we heard as much for him in the offseason to just keep getting better. And we have seen it in every aspect of his game. Yeah. I heard the Dodgers don't
Don't develop.
They don't make their own players anymore. They don't develop position players anymore.
Bought, not built, baby.
There's one.
Yeah.
Here's one.
You know, and Pages, the fact that, you know, that because that swing on the 2-0 pitch from Soriano was terrible. It was almost as bad as the Jose Altuve strikeout against Ohtani a couple weeks ago. It was a bad swing. The only difference between that one and his 3-run homer on Friday on the 3-0 pitch is that he guessed right on the homer and he guessed wrong on this one. But the big thing that's different for Pages is he only did it once in that bat. Like that's okay. 2-0 is a great time to guess when you're up there with bases loaded and you know you have a chance for a big inning against a really good pitcher. Yeah, 2-0. Guess. He wants to get back in the zone. He's already walked a couple guys this inning. And so he's probably going to throw me a fastball that I can hit. So yeah, go ahead and guess and swing on that. And then he locked in. I need to work a good at bat and he ended up working a walk. And so that was a big part because the swing and miss looked very, very much like Andy Pages of old.
Yeah.
And the two pitches after that remind us, oh no, this is a different guy. We'll still see flashes of that sometimes, but this is a more mature hitter now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 20% strikeout rate and a 7% walk rate, which, you know, is those are totally comfortable numbers for Andy Pages.
Up and to the right.
Up and to the right, as they say. A couple more super chats here. SPTO49, which I recognize the picture as somebody, but I don't know the name, so I apologize. Says the Holy Trinity here on Sunday. All we're missing is Doug, new listener here, longtime fan of the previous shows. We appreciate you. Welcome to the All Dodgers show again. It's a busy one tonight, so it's a good one to have you joining us with, and we hope you'll stick around. Our friend Richie with the super chat here as well. Can we just not have Manny go full drama queen? San Diego media treating this series as life and death. Don Orsillo having a brain aneurysm every single inning. Our guy Richie does have a voice memo we'll be playing later on. So stay tuned. Richie's got more thoughts on San Diego.
Yeah, this series is Richie's World Series because he finally has an excuse to talk about Manny Machado, which he wants to do every day of his life anyway.
It's true. And Kevin Skinner, I learned, is like a closet Padres fan. All he wants to do is talk about Padres guys. So
Padres and Cubs. Yep.
Big day. Big day for Kevin as well. Clint, why don't you tell us about our other sponsor? We mentioned our friends over at FanDuel. We also have a deal with our friends over at IQ Bar. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, you guys might be seeing me drinking my water on the side. I'm actually having an IQ mix courtesy of IQ Bar. This is the lemon lime. Really like this one. It's got electrolytes. It's got what plants crave. It's got magnesium and other things. But if you're one of those people, I don't struggle to drink water. But if you're one of those people that struggles to drink water, these IQ mixes are really cool. But the episode is brought to you by IQ Bars, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. I had this on yesterday morning's show, the IQ Joe, which Speaks, we got to get you some of that. The mushroom coffee they have. You can get it all. You can get it all. You could text MLB to 64,000 and you get 20% off. You could even use it here on the Ultimate Sampler Pack, which gets you 9 of the IQ bars, 8 of the IQ mix sticks for your water, and 4 of the coffees. The bars are, something to grab and go. I did it on one of the promos. That's a hefty bar. So I think that means it's good for you, but do check it out. They are a sponsor here on the show. They had over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting. More people are fueling their busy days and lifestyles with IQ Bar products. And again, like I said, right now you could text MLB to 6400. You get 20% off. You get free shit, or you text after 9. I think minutes are free then. But thank you to IQ Bar and thank you guys for supporting the brands that support us here at All Dodgers.
Love it. Appreciate that. Shout out to IQ Bar and for supporting the show. Let's get to a couple other important news updates. Injury news. And the text on our headline here got very small because there's lots of names after injury news. Jack Dreyer, Brusdar Graterol, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, all getting injury updates this week. It starts with Jack Dreyer, who's been fantastic for the Dodgers so far this season. Felt something warming up yesterday, goes to the injured list with shoulder discomfort. Good news is the imaging showed only some inflammation. Pop, tell me if you've heard this before. The hope is that this is a minimum stay on the injured list for Jack Dreyer.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I can't quite place it. It seems like we've heard it 1,000 times. And to be fair, at least 400 of those 1,000 times it was accurate. The Dodgers are cautious when it comes to their pitchers. And so it could be something that, at a different point in the season or with a different team philosophy, he would pitch through it. But the Dodgers generally, especially in April and May, they're like, something hurts. Okay, you're taking 2 weeks off at least. And even if it ends up being longer, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, a terrible catastrophe. Jack Dreyer is a very important part of this bullpen. He was the huge surprise last year. He's been very good this year. Somewhere on the confidence cactus, definitely higher than Blake Trinan.
Hey, all couple good outings in a row for our guy Blake Trinan.
It's just the Angels. Yeah, we'll see. But you know what? That Blake Trinan, he's probably going to need to be up on the confidence cactus because right now there are guys named Chase McDermott and
allegedly
and Wyatt Mills and Paul Gervais in the Dodgers bullpen who are probably supposed to be in the minor leagues, AAA at best right now, and they're in the big league bullpen, which means Blake Trinan's up higher by default because Jack Dreyer is an important part of this bullpen, but he is even more important in October. And so, it's May. If something hurts, sit down for a while.
How dare you include Paul Gervais in a category with those other 3 AI pitchers? He's a real person, Jeff.
We've seen him. We've seen him.
He's hard to miss.
Listen, I don't know about you, Speaks, but anytime the Dodgers say we expect him to be on the IL for the minimum, I get scared. I implore everybody, burn some sage, light your Virgin of Guadalupe candles, like put some Vicks Vapor Rub on yourself, because this kid has become a very important part of this left-handed trifecta of him and Vesia and Tanner Scott, who have all been very good. But this is a guy who's been extremely consistent and can pitch in kind of any situation. So I'm hoping this is like Pop is saying, just more of a precaution, slightly overreactionary from the team, a chance to give him an early season blow rather than anything that's going to keep him down for a month.
Yeah, I mean, you look right now, him and Tanner Scott tied for most appearances on the team coming into today at 20 apiece. His 21.2 innings, the most of any relief pitcher, like actual relief pitcher, 2.08 ERA for Jack Dreyer. So a big one there. In other relief pitcher news, Brusdar Graterol pulled off of a rehab assignment for more evaluation. The back flared up on him, and he is going in for imaging. Subsequently has been moved to the 60-day injured list. You mentioned it, I believe, Jeff, just that like his velocity had been down in his rehab outing also. So I know there were like decent results in that rehab outing, but the velocity wasn't good. Now a back injury flares up. I never want to like preemptively say, do we ever see this guy again? But it feels like how many different injuries can we stack on top of one another for one guy? Yeah,
I think Jaime Gonzalez nails it in the chat. Said Graterol is the Cal Ripken Jr. of the injured list.
Oh, jeez.
That's unfortunately the comment of the day in its accuracy. Here's the thing. Brusdar Graterol is the reason that the Dodgers have Andy Pages. Because you remember in 2020, the Dodgers worked out a 3-team trade in which Kenta Maeda was going to the Twins, Alex Verdugo was going to the Red Sox, Brusdar Graterol was going from the Twins to the Red Sox, and Mookie Betts was going from the Red Sox to the Dodgers. And in a separate trade, the Dodgers traded Andy Pages to the Angels. And then that one got held up because the first one got held up. Why did that get held up? Because the Red Sox did not like Brusdar Graterol's medicals. And so all of this comes back. Brusdar Graterol, there's nothing not to like about the guy.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he's never pitching. And when he's pitching, he's good. He's been very important for the Dodgers a few times. He's had some big innings, some big outs, played a big part in some really good Dodger teams. But the story of Brusdar Graterol's career, all the way back to scuttling the trade that Artie Moreno got impatient waiting, didn't think he should have to wait. Don't you know who I am? Who cares about a Mookie Betts trade? This is me, Artie Moreno. He said, no, I don't want Andy Pages. You guys keep him. And so the Dodgers said, okay, we'll take Brusdar Graterol too. But that's because the Dodgers can absorb a guy who, he might be hurt for the rest of his life. And unfortunately, it's being over dramatic. That just might be the truth.
Yeah. A couple other injury updates here. Tyler Glasnow, speaking of our Jack Dreyer update, a guy I expected to miss the minimum amount of time. We get the update this week. He will not, in fact, miss the minimum amount of time. Will be out for at least a little while longer. And then Blake Snell. We are sitting here on Sunday night. As far as I know, it is still to be determined. We know he's having surgery on Tuesday. We don't know what kind of surgery it is. We have learned in the last, I don't know, 20 days that there are apparently 2 different ways to get whatever's going on in his elbow fixed. There's whatever Edwin Diaz got, which is the normal surgery. And then there's the nano needle that Tarek Skubal got that apparently is a lot quicker and more efficient. So we know Dr. Neil Elatrash is doing the surgery. We know it's happening on Tuesday. Clint, we just don't know which surgery he's getting, which therefore means we have no idea how long he's going to be out.
I think they're rummaging right now through the like the old kitchen utensils drawer looking for the turkey flavor injector, because I think if you put it in, you could suck out the loose body that way. Blake Snell is always going to miss time. Hopefully it turns into just 2 months instead of 3 months. Hopefully we do see him back this year as they claim. But enough of these loose body issues.
Have they ruled out?
Shoulder, hey elbow.
Have they ruled out having him just get on Twitch and said, "Hey elbow, stop having loose bodies"?
We'll double check on that. Maybe Clint pass that on to Katie next time she's on Dodgers territory. Maybe just see if she can get that question asked for us.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Write that one down.
I do want to pause real quick on the Blake Snell thing, because I do feel like I've seen in the comments a lot of people saying, man, what a stupid signing this has been to go out and get Blake Snell. A year ago, they signed him to a 5-year, $180 million contract. Since signing that contract, he has thrown just 64 1/3 innings between last year and this year, has a 2.8 ERA. He made 5 starts in the postseason, 1 relief appearance to a 3.18 ERA last year. Jeff, I'll start with you first. How do you view the Blake Snell signing, given what they have gotten out of him now, and knowing that we're basically going to get to the midway point of this season, and the first year and a half of his time in Dodger uniform, he's going to have thrown 64 innings?
Yeah, there's an old story about some animal carrying a rattlesnake, giving it a ride, and then the rattlesnake bites it, and he's like, "I just gave you a ride," and he says, "You know what I was when you picked me up." The Dodgers knew what Blake Snell was when they signed him. They didn't sign him to throw 180 innings a season. Yeah. They didn't sign him to even to win another Cy Young Award. He's done it. They signed him to be good when he's healthy and cross their fingers and hope that a lot of those healthy times coincide with the month of October. And last year, they absolutely did. And he was a very, very important part of the Dodgers winning the World Series last year. I'm not going to say they wouldn't have won it without him, but he was definitely a very important part of them winning the World Series. And the hope is that he will be an important part of them winning the World Series again this year. And if he's only healthy for the months of September and October, I think that is a trade-off they will be perfectly happy to make. Obviously, they would love to see him throw 200 innings and win his 3rd Cy Young Award. But if he wins another World Series ring, I don't think they care that much about what happens in May and June and July.
Real quick, Jeff, people are very angry. It's the scorpion, not a rattlesnake, and it's riding on top of a frog, according to some people. So
yeah, it could be. I know there may be different versions of the story, but either way.
Multiple people. I love how you're arguing. I love how that response to that correction was not like, "Oh, my bad, you're right, scorpion on the frog." You're like, there's multiple version of the old Chinese proverb. Well, it turns out, and
such a pop response, right?
Unbelievable.
There. All I'm saying is, I know the version I heard wasn't a frog, and so that's why I'm assuming that maybe it wasn't a scorpion either.
That's amazing.
The original is a scorpion and a frog. I don't know.
There you go. I love it. Clint, here's where I'm at on Blake Snell.
Give me.
They won the World Series last year, and Blake Snell was part of them winning the World Series. I don't give a crap about any of the rest of this stuff. Guess what? As of today, Blake Snell is on track to become healthy at some point this regular season, and then in theory will be available in the postseason. He made 5 starts for the Dodgers in the postseason. His first 3 were absolutely incredible leading up to the World Series. Absolutely dominant, gave them length, got a bunch of outs, a ton of strikeouts. He had 2 starts that weren't very good in the World Series, but let's also not forget he came back, I believe, on 2 days rest and got 4 outs in Game 7, including 3 outs with a runner on second base where he gets out of the jam. And so, to me, have we forgotten what team we're talking about? The Dodgers care about one thing and one thing only, which is winning the World Series. Last year, Blake Snell undoubtedly helped them win the World Series. That's all that he could have pitched 0 innings in the regular season last year. If he helps them and they win the World Series, it's a success. It's like the Mookie Betts thing. Everyone's already talking about how bad the end of this contract's going to be. Who cares? They've won 3 titles. It is the Snell contract, in my book, Clint, is already a success because he helped them win the World Series last year.
He won 4 of the 13 games, or he was a part of 4 of the 13 wins required for them to win that World Series last year. If over the course of the next 4 years he's under contract, that's a damn good deal. You pay $137 million for 2 World Series rings, regardless of how many times he pitches in the regular season. Now, you would like to have him healthy. I'm sure he would like to be healthy, but get him fixed and patched up now, and then we'll take him on a road trip in October.
Yeah. And by the way, he wasn't fully healthy, it appears, when he was actually making those starts. Yeah, he's yelling at his shoulder. And guess what? He got the job done. 4 big outs in Game 7. I'd pay $180 million, Clint, for the 4 outs he got in Game 7 alone. To me, it's worth it. So, again, just remember what this team is competing for. And the goal is win the World Series. Year 1 of Blake Snell's contract, he helped them win the World Series. It's as simple as that, Jeff.
Yeah, and by the way, you ever heard of Aesop and his fables? One of those fables.
I can't believe we're still doing this. You could have just taken the L with grace.
You could have
just
the
accepted
farmer
it and
and the viper. Like, it literally Aesop's fables. I can be wrong when I'm wrong, but this is freaking
he related
Aesop.
to Rocky? Aesop Rocky?
Is that a young people joke? I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the rapists.
Yeah. So you know that English degree people get mad when I bring up? I had to read Aesop's fables in college. That's why I knew the version with the snake.
Was that written in English?
No, Aesop was some sort of.
So why are we reading that in English class?
Literature. You ever heard of literature?
You said you got an English degree. I was just confused there, you know?
Yeah, we sometimes study literature in an English class, English degree.
Well, it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for you to just say, my bad, Scorpion and the Frog, multiple people in the chat, and you didn't. So you know what? That's who you
true.
are, Jeff.
If there's one thing we know is that YouTube commenters are always right over Aesop.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Right. I mean, again, even if they weren't, we could have just accepted it and moved on. But here we are.
No, I was curious to know why I thought it was a snake. So I looked and saw it. And because it was.
A couple more news and notes here. Some odds and ends. We mentioned Eric Lauer, acquired from the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays sent Eric Lauer and cash considerations to the Dodgers for cash considerations or a player to be named later. Good luck with that. As my cousin texts me, he goes, why did Eric Lauer cost you anything? I'm like, to be clear, he might not cost us anything. We don't know yet. This is an interesting signing to me, Clint, for one simple reason. We know he's been atrocious this year. 36 innings, 6 starts, 2 relief appearances, a 6.7 ERA. Last year, he threw 100-plus innings and had a 3.18 ERA. That was not that long ago. Now, the underlying metrics were not, awesome, but I think there's, a league average pitcher somewhere in there. And Eric, worst case scenario, they just need live bodies so that these these AI generated relief pitchers, he can just take their place. So to me, this is sure, Eric Lauer to eat innings, eat away, my friend.
Yeah, and this gives them that opportunity to have some bullpen games. If this is going to be your length guy, it sounds like they don't plan on really having him be a starter. I don't think he's built up much for starting, even though he has started the majority of the games this year for Toronto, or majority of his appearances have been starts, but I don't think that's his role. That the role is go out there and get us 4 innings in the middle of the game, and we are going to have Will Klein face the top of the lineup every time you come up until somebody comes back and is healthy, and then thank you very much for your service. This is every bit of a this is just a temporary fix right now, and it's better, like you said, better than a Chase McDermott, better than a Wyatt Mills, better than a Jake Eater, because he could also get you some innings. And he's a known commodity. He's had some success at the big league level over almost a decade now.
All the Blue Jays people I saw were like, hey, Eric Lauer, we don't make the World Series without you last year. Thank you for your service, basically. Seemed like there was a little bit of Which this doesn't help the fact that Dave said the plan is for him to be a reliever swingman. There were a lot of people kind of backing him, saying, what's the role? He's kind of being yo-yoed back and forth, kind of getting the Michael Grove treatment, basically, of like, am I a starter? Am I a reliever? Getting hung out to dry a little bit. So, I mean, we'll see. Jeff, do you have any other thoughts here on Eric Lauer?
He's faced these Angels that we've talked about not being a major league quality team. He's faced them twice this year, and he's allowed 9 earned runs in 10 innings
Like that.
against them. Yeah, I think Eric Lauer is probably a bad pitcher at this point, but he is a guy who can fill a role, and that role might be, hey, we don't plan on winning today, but we also don't plan on using too many relievers. So go eat some innings for us, and he's going to be DFA'd as soon as they need that roster spot because he can't be optioned. And so once they don't need him in the big leagues, he will be gone. He may be a guy who will make 3 appearances and earn his World Series ring. And that's the legacy of Eric Lauer for this year. But the fact is, even though they're not saying he's going to be a starter, I would guess he gets a spot start at some point because
100%.
River Ryan probably isn't quite ready to be called up right now. And the Dodgers only have 5 starters in their 6-man rotation right now. Yeah. And so Eric Lauer has been in the 80 pitch range most of his appearances this season. And so that's a guy who you throw out there and say, hey, offense, go score 11 runs for us so we can win 11-9.
Yeah, off day on Thursday. And so they can kind of do a 6-man rotation with 5 guys for the time being. But if they need a 6th starter and River Ryan's not ready, it would be him. I like this from David Lee. Eric Lauer's job is basically to be the guy everybody gets mad at so that they're not mad at Roki Sasaki anymore. There you go. Good job for Eric Lauer to have.
And I'll add, Nomo's splitter in the chat said, is Eric Lauer the new Brent Honeywell? Yeah. If the Dodgers can make something, even though Pop was never a fan of Honeywell, when you actually look at the numbers. Now, when you look at Vibes Plus and also his ability to just be a dog, it was off the chart, but his ability to actually have good peripheral numbers, you don't really want to look into that. But if this front office can make something out of him, if the pitching coaches, the pitching lab can make something out of him, out of Tyler Anderson a couple years ago, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Heaney that year as well. Like, this is somebody, they'll probably find something. They'll tell him, hey, let's change this and do a little bit of a slurve. Let's change the grip on your cutter or on your changeup. I don't even know what pitches Eric Lauer has. He will be effective enough, and then he will be DFA'd. Thank you very much. Enjoy your ring, and next year.
Yeah. Expected to join the team in San Diego.
Big Maple. That's another one Elisheva brings up. Yeah.
The one other note here, as far as Dodger stuff coming up, they are tweaking the rotation a little bit. Emmett Sheehan is going to start on Tuesday. Shohei Ohtani will start on Wednesday. They're going to flip places for a couple of reasons. One, mainly so that Ohtani can pitch and then have an off day the next day because there is no game on Thursday. I guess, Jeff, the other news here is that the Dodgers are planning on letting Shohei Ohtani, at least for now, hit on Wednesday while he pitches. So a thing we haven't seen happen for a little while, we might get to see happen on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that probably what their plan is going forward is for him to hit the day he pitches and then not hit the day after sometimes. And so this flip-flop allows them to do that without actually taking him out of the lineup. He'll just have the off day. And because, everybody says the day after pitching is when you feel like you got hit by a truck. And so giving him that rest day, which also allows him to be a pinch hitter if necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary this last time because the offense did their job. But I think that makes sense. I would guess that 90% of the rest of Ohtani's starts this season, he will hit also on the day that he pitches. And when he does get days off at the plate, it'll be the day after he pitches.
There you go. Our guy Raul, $1.99 super chat. Pop won't be snided.
Oh,
there you go.
So good.
Yeah. Aesop.
So good.
Pop's fables. That's what they say,
Somebody else asked if I remember telling that story, which,
well, none of us were there. I wasn't there. The rest of us weren't there when Aesop started telling those stories, Jeff. So they got passed down by the time we heard it. We weren't first person listeners of Aesop's fables.
Yeah. What was that thing I sent you, Clint, about something about being insufferable but right, and that's a tough combination. Like, that's and then there's that funny meme, you're technically correct, which is the best form of correct. Yeah, you know what? It's a curse sometimes, but here we are.
Out of you, insufferable. That's that much. It's part of your charm.
Hey, I had a thought about Paul Gervais earlier when we were. I just wanted to say, in his defense, he is the only name in that trade that Clinton got correct on the night of the trade, because the other two guys were Ben Rortvedt and Adam Sirwanowski, and at least Paul Gervais's name is mostly phonetic, and so Clint didn't stumble over it like Ron Roveltelt and Adam. I don't even remember the 8 different ways you pronounce Sirwanowski.
Too many random letters. You don't need it. Fix it.
There you go. I like it. Our guy David Sabatini chiming in with the super chat, by the way, $10, which Dodgers outscored the Angels 31-3. Also, hope you enjoyed my food picks as much as I enjoyed eating them. Jeff Snider's Traeger arrives tomorrow. Can't wait to see some awesome food picks from the new Pitmaster. Yes, I mean the burnt ends. I'm just saying, if you could choose between smoking a turkey and smoking the burnt ends that you showed me today, I will eat burnt ends every single day of my life. Like I don't need the turkey day. Just give me the burnt ends, ribs, whatever.
I don't really understand smoking a turkey not on Thanksgiving. I can get on board with it's Thanksgiving, so we're having a turkey and we're going to smoke it. I don't understand smoking a turkey in April or May, but some people really like turkey, and that's okay. I think it's okay for people like what they like, but I hope my Traeger comes tomorrow. That was the estimated delivery date, but I haven't gotten any updates since then. So I got my fingers crossed that it shows up, but I guess we'll see.
All right. We are going to shift and do some voicemails. We do have a bunch of these, and we're going to preface this segment with this. We are considering adjusting the way that we do voice memos and voicemails, simply because the goal of this segment is to incorporate it into the rest of the stuff that we're talking about, and also to give a platform for a wider variety of voices to be heard. And so we appreciate the Richies and the Noahs of the world who are consistent. That's the word. Consistent contributors to the voicemails. Yeah. We appreciate you, but we are hoping for this segment to be something that incorporates more people and sort of is something that can get integrated into the show that we're having. And so what I would say is that if you are interested in continuing this segment, having it continue, and you have not sent a voice memo in, maybe do that. Send a voice memo to CallAllDodgers@gmail.com, or just be prepared. There's a chance that we might limit this to like a certain day of the week or that kind of a thing. It's not going to be a guarantee that just because you send a voice memo in, it's going to get played moving forward. So that's the plan. I think this is an awesome thing. I was jealous when I came over that this was a thing you guys were doing that I had never done before. So we want to keep it going. We just want to see it done in a way that's engaging and incorporating some new folks in. So we do have a bunch of voicemails and voice memos today. So let's get started with a fun one from Gavin right here.
What's up, guys? This is Gavin. I've been lurking long enough, took the call to spice up the variety of voicemails seriously, so I thought I'd call in. I am a refugee from several Dodger podcasts formerly hosted by the three of you. Thank you for your good work. And all I got to say is I hope the Dodgers not getting swept by the Angels doesn't mean they don't win the World Series, because the last 2 years they got swept and they won the World Series. So that's all I got. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work. Bye.
Gavin, we appreciate it. I love the descriptor. When he said, I'm a refugee, I was like, oh, man, this is taking a turn to a different place. And then it was like from a bunch of other Dodger podcasts. I'm like, okay, thank goodness.
The non-serious form of refugee. So
there you go. There you go.
To clarify, the Dodgers didn't get swept by the Angels in 2024. They went 2-2 against them that year.
Just Gavin sends in a voicemail. It's a nice voicemail, Jeff. Just let him have this. Let him have this moment. You had to correct him.
Years is terrible. I'm not correcting. I'm adding flavor to it in the form of correctness. Jesus. 2-8 over the last 2 years. A sweep was much better.
We all literally could have just gone to sleep believing that Gavin was right. He sent in a nice voicemail. This is why, Jeff, this is why people don't send in voice memos. This is why it's just Richie who's immune from your takes, is because people don't want that.
Gavin likes me because I was the only person who could pronounce his last name correctly back in the day. And so I think he will appreciate the added insight that he got from my response to his voicemail.
It's incredible. I love how you are so convinced. No. I think he will love what I'm doing here. I love it.
Hey, Gavin, let us know. Yeah.
Here we go. You know what you deserve, Jeff? You deserve this.
Well, the last time Noah and I had left a voicemail, we got dropped quicker than a Padre fan wearing a Manny Machado jersey in the left field
It's a
pavilion.
liar.
But I
Played him
digress.
But I
yesterday.
While
digress.
we did it, we swept the Mouseketeers, and unlike the fake news on social media, Shohei Ohtani actually is alive and breathing, and his bat's not taking a dirt nap 6 feet under. But now we head down south to Petco Park, where 40,000 every night will pack the ballpark, and the Friar faithful, just like the trained seals at SeaWorld, will all be chanting "Beat LA" for all 3 games. But first, before the first pitch, we'll have to endure the Padres ring ceremony and the banner being raised high above the Gaslamp District in downtown San Diego, because they were actually in first place for 72 hours. See ya!
Under 45 seconds, Pop.
That's huge.
It's huge.
That's huge.
There you
Do something with that, you prick.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you got to correct there, Jeff?
No comment.
All right, let's go to our friend Raul.
It's hurting him.
We'll see. I think I know what version of Raul we're going to get on a 5-game win streak.
Hey, Clint. Hey, Jeff. It's Raul. I'm just happy to see the Dodgers remember they have brooms in their closets, and they swept the Angels the way they did. Just dominated. Which, hey, it gives us fans confidence, right? And I'm not going to bring up the cactus. Anywho, it's good to see Roki pitch to his potential. That's why it was just so hard to even think about sending him down to AAA, because he'll probably just treat AAA batters the way he treated the Angels today. And so, yeah, we knew he could be a good pitcher. Now, seeing how he probably piecing it all together, it just gives me more faith in him. Finally, hey, Dodgers, save some runs, points, keep those bats warm when we bring into San Diego, because the way it looks right now, they're going to have a half-game lead. All right. Anywho, all right, guys. Bye.
Is this your burner right here, Jeff? Jeff's is not grammatically correct from Nomo Splitter.
Thank you for bringing
no.
that up.
Yeah, I like bad grammar as long as it doesn't hinder communication. I think bad grammar can be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Noah.
Well, what up, guys? It's Noah, as you know, and I gotta say, guys, I'm really happy with where the team's at as a whole. The only person I'm really worried about, but not really, is Freddie Freeman. He'll figure it out, though. And the one person I am worried about, not him as a player, but his roster spot, is Kim. Because keep in mind, guys, that he has options, and obviously Espinal is gonna get DFA'd, but we still need 2 spots for Kike and Edman. So that's a question I had that popped up in my head. Anyways, how it going, guys? Bye.
Clint, what do you think about that? Ha-Seong Kim got off to a pretty tough stretch right after Alex Freeland gets sent down, but I believe he's got, is it 2 games in a row with an RBI base knock? He's been hitting well with runners in scoring position, putting the ball in play, beat out a grounder today. It feels like after 4 or 5 games that were pretty rough, it feels like he's settled in now. Roster spot wise, who knows how this plays out? But at least he seems to have settled back.
Yeah. Listen, his best, like, how am I trying to word this in the nice way? He will be at his best when he is the 26th man on this roster. Him playing every day just exposes him, and we're going to see those games where he faces a less good pitcher, and will get a couple of knocks, earn a couple of walks, and he has been good at keeping the line moving sometimes at the bottom of the lineup. But I'm ready for Tommy Edman to be getting those starts at second, or Kike Hernandez to be getting those starts at second, or maybe even a little more Miggy Rowe as he starts to hit a little bit. I'll definitely still take him over Alex Freeland at this point, but it feels like the days are numbered after, Espinal will go first, but they could be numbered once you get both Kike and Tommy back.
Yeah. One more voicemail here from Jacob from the South.
Hey, y'all, it's Jacob from the South calling again, and I've started a new game, and you guys are going to help me see how it goes. I'm going to send this before Roki Sasaki finishes his outing in the 5th inning. We're in the middle of the 5th inning right now.
Dangerous game.
And so far, he looks good. but this is a prediction or hoping that the rest of it goes well. 4 innings with 6 strikeouts. Pretty good. Those little increments of improvement are starting to add up. And it's good to hear that he's actually starting to listen to the coaching staff instead of trying to wander through the wilderness by himself. Love you guys. Hopefully this does age well and doesn't make me look like an idiot. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
I love how he went from I have a prediction to make to actually, I mean, I just hope that he doesn't suck for the next 2 innings. You know, it's like, I'm not actually going to make any positive predictions here, Jeff.
Yeah, and he showed more guts. Richie did a similar thing a week or two ago where he recorded during the game from the stadium. We could hear the crowd noise. You look at the timestamp. He didn't actually email it until after the game was over and he knew he was right. But Jacob actually emailed this one.
Richie lives rent-free in your head, Snydog. Just rent-free.
This email came in at 2:35 p.m. Pacific. So like, an hour and a half into the game. So Jacob really put his money where his mouth is or whatever and went out on a limb. So I respect that.
There you go.
The red freak got me. There is a little man cave in Pop's
There's a man
head.
cave in Snydog's head.
I think about Richie as much as Richie thinks about Manny Machado.
That's not a good thing for you. That's not a good. I think Richie thinks about Manny Machado a lot. Okay, let's.
But in different ways. I don't want to have his babies like Richie wants to have Manny Machado's babies.
Jeez Louise. Okay. On that note,
can we take a moment to appreciate great calls there? That was an awesome voicemail segment. And that's the type of stuff we would really love to have. Variety, because I don't think we want to necessarily say, hey, we're trying to not include anybody. Like if the voicemails bring the conversation, then that's what we're looking for. Yeah. That's what we don't want to feel like we're derailing. And a big number is when we see people, it's that way on the screen. We see people dropping off in the live chat. Yeah. We know the voicemails are derailing the show. They did not right there. So good stuff. Everybody who called in. Thank you.
Yeah. Still over 600.
I got nervous because as soon as Jeff started introducing the segment, it immediately dropped by like 30. But before we even started playing any voicemails, but then it bounced back up and we stayed pretty consistent. So yeah, I was watching that number too.
I think I actually noticed, Jeff, that when we played Richie's voicemail, the numbers spiked back up is actually what I saw on my phone.
All the way up.
So
yeah, that's because his wife left the room where he was to go turn on the show to get away from him.
Brutal.
No, hey, Richie said a voicemail in the time constraints. It was great. It had a topic. It was awesome.
I love it. Positivity there. Let's go out with this. Padres series this weekend. We've got Yamamoto versus King tomorrow, Sheehan on Tuesday, and then Ohtani on Wednesday. Clint, I'll come to you. 3-game set. How many do the Dodgers win?
Man, I would love a sweep. I want to see a sweep here. You got Sheehan coming off of his best start of the year. You got Yamamoto. You got Ohtani against a really, really bad hitting team. Take advantage of what you're given offensively, and you're going to win 3 games and really enjoy that day off on Thursday.
Okay, sweep from Clint. Snider, you want to piggyback there on a sweep, or you want to cower it out and go 2 out of 3?
No, I'm sweep all the way. They may win 4 games in this 3-game series.
You can't win 4 games.
Yeah, he's an English major. English major, not a math guy.
Hashtag math, baby.
There you go. I will be a coward and I will say 2 out of 3 is what the Dodgers get. I know. Give me Yamamoto day and Ohtani day, with all due respect to Emmett Sheehan, who's looked a lot better. But I think 2 out of 3, and most importantly, no Fernando Tatis home runs in this series, which again, that's goal number 1, no Tatis home runs. Goal number 2, win baseball games as far as I'm concerned.
The other important thing might be no Gavin Sheets home runs, because apparently that dude decided that he wants to just be a superstar. So
yeah,
he is on. He is hot. He is hot right now.
Crazy.
And Richie mentioned Manny as the drama queen. Tatis is usually kind of the precursor to some sort of theatrics between these two teams, because he crowds the plate and throws his bat and makes a big
get ready for Padre fans wanting the first time there's a pitch inside. Dodgers always throwing it, Tatis. I will preemptively say there is only one pitcher on the Dodgers roster who has ever hit Tatis with a pitch, and that was the second batter that Yamamoto faced in his big league career. he hit Fernando Tatis. That is the only hit by pitch of Tatis by anyone on the Dodgers roster. There's one other guy in the system in the minor leagues. I forget which non-roster guy in AAA
Irvin,
it is. Who
probably.
It might be. But yeah, so Yamamoto is the only Dodgers pitcher who's ever hit Tatis, and it clearly wasn't intentional because nobody ever hits Tatis intentionally. He just always thinks it's intentional. It's one thing that he and Ronald Acuna have in common besides having Junior as their last name.
Just to close the loop on this, David wants us to know both the farmer and the snake and the frog and the scorpion are classic fables about trusting inherently dangerous individuals. So there you go.
Oh, Pop-Pop's wrong. Pop-Pop can't be wrong. He can't accept being wrong. Pop-Pop and Aesop rhyme. That's why they're both right.
All I said was you could have just let it go. I didn't say...
No, you said I
wrong.
could have taken the L. You said I could have taken the L.
Correct. By just moving
and taking
on.
the L implies being wrong.
I was mostly just saying...
Very enjoyable.
You could have just
I can't be wrong when I'm right.
You could have let
I'm not going to plead guilty to a crime I did not commit.
You know, you could have just walked past it. That's all I was asking for. But
by the way, so Aesop's distant relative, ASAP Rocky is, I guess he's playing at Kia Forum June 27th. So get your tickets now, guys.
There you go.
And
there you go.
S and ASAP is a $, right?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Just so
I know
money.
Yeah.
I'm so young and cool.
Yeah, that's what they all say. That's what they all say.
It.
Let's see what our viewers are doing right now. Wow, over 650. So apparently people like this. They want
they
want
agree
more.
that I shouldn't plead guilty to a crime I did not commit.
Every time we mention Aesop Fable, 20 more people come in and watch live. I think it's maybe we just need Fridays with Pop is just reading Aesop Fables, I think.
I hope ASAP Rocky starts his concert by reciting the farmer and the snake, whatever, from Aesop's Fables.
I love it.
It's terrific.
I love it. On that note, this has
Culture,
been All
baby.
Dodgers, part of the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel. That is Clint Pasillas. That is Jeff Snider. I am Jeff Spiegel. We appreciate all of you. Again, huge show tonight. Over 650 people in here live with us. We appreciate each and every one of you. We've been the biggest show on Dodgers YouTube for the last week. I'll say it. Live people watching the show. We're number one. Check it the next morning. We've been number one. Not saying it's always going to be that way, but it's cool to see. So we appreciate every single person that's been supporting the show, spreading the word, podcast-wise, doing huge numbers there as well. So thank you to every single person who is watching, who is commenting, who is engaging, who is joining the Discord, who is joining the Patreon, who is a member on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night. Dodgers, 5 wins in a row. They sweep the Angels, headed to San Diego for a series against the Padres. Go Dodgers! And yes, still champs!
Bye.